At a very early stage, I had that perception of life in Australia and how it works here. That was one of the key factors of me finding a job very quickly out of university.
One of the big things that international students bring to an organisation is a really in-depth understanding of different cultures. The culture that they grew up in and that they may have started studying in. They have a unique perspective on what it's like to live and work in an overseas country, as well as what it's like to live and work here in Australia. English language skills is probably one of the biggest things that any employer within Australia is going to look at. Practicing the English language as much as you can within your own peer group, with others at university, or even in a volunteer work or a paid casual job is just going to improve your skill.
One key message is to step out of your comfort zone, getting to know Australia as a country, joining associations where English is the first language, and be able to mingle around and speak to people to improve that language and not fall back to the comfort zone of speaking a language that you're comfortable with. If you are talking about a creative designer for a concept car or an in-house programmer, English is probably not the key thing. Their creativity is. On average, across the industries that I've worked with or clients that I've worked with in the past, above average written and spoken English is almost a necessity. And then you have the next level, which is the consultants, the sales engineers, the client-facing roles, where you need to have perfect spoken and written English to be able to deliver the right message to your clients, as well as to be able to communicate back the roles required or the tasks required to your in-house employees.
I was the vice president of the Chinese debating group. The most important experience that I gained from those activities is being responsible, being able to talk to people a little bit more organized than I used to be. It's really important for all the students now at uni try to get as many opportunities into those kind of activities.
The key attributes an international student can bring to an employer would be eagerness to learn, eagerness to show what they can provide and share with the organization.
Focus on the benefit or the value cultural understanding could bring to an organisation. So if a company has offices in their home country, they can talk about the idea of being able to develop deep relationships with staff that work in that geography while still having a really strong understanding of what it's like to work here in Australia.
Networking is crucial for job hunting, and especially when you're in the university, you meet a lot of friends and your classmates, your lecturer, your tutor.
What networking does is it creates a different avenue of searching for work.
Developing relationships with former colleagues that you've studied with that are currently working for organisations that you aspire to work for as well, or to meet the recruitment team or the HR team that might be reviewing your application.
The smaller companies do hire graduates based on networking, but the larger organizations will have a structured approach.
It's a way of building rapport or generating some intelligence about the business that you want to apply for before you've even started an application.
Most of the employer or recruitment agents will do a search before they put the job ad on. What I suggest is you take some of the advantage of online professional website like LinkedIn. So you fill in a profile and put your skills up and connect to the people you know and let them to endorse you.
When I was at uni, I asked the Career Center help me out to go through my resumes, to give me some tips in order to get a job after I graduate.
So I took advantage of the avenues I had at Melbourne University, the very experienced career counselors, to help me shape that career, as well as having that open mind to speak to everyone that's working full-time. No one was too big or too small for me to speak with, to give me ideas of what I should be doing with my life and what is it like to work in Australia.
One of the most important things for international students to keep in mind when looking for paid graduate positions is that not every company will accept an application from an international student. There are companies out there that will, and it's really important to make sure you do your research before you apply.
You have to understand some of the organization don't have the knowledge about what type of visa you have.
you only need one yes. If you're struggling, I would say take a breather, take a step back and reevaluate your search structure, reevaluate the way you've been looking for work.
One of the biggest pieces of advice that I would want to give to an international student is potentially for them to stop thinking of themselves as an international student. You know, they've studied in Australia. Most of the international students have got fantastic academic track records. The next step for them is to really start practicing their professional skills, their written language, their verbal speaking ability, to ensure that when an application of theirs is being reviewed by someone like myself, it's seen as good, if not better, than an application from someone in Australia.
Have that structure of, industries, what jobs are out there, read the news, go to career fairs and speak to as many people as you can. Yeah, they will give you ideas of what else is available out there, and that is a key point in making sure you find the right job.